Welcome everybody to the Azure and AI show. And this week we have a new MVP on the call with us. Rav, congratulations again on the dual MVP in security. Thanks very much for joining us today. We have Dan Ray, MVP, and we have Amy Diamond, MVP in SharePoint. Dan, I think your one was a dual one as well, wasn't it? Copilot and
I was April, and I'm Copilot and Surface this year.
okay, so you're a dual MVP as well. Amy, me and you will have to work on getting the second one.
I think mine is sufficient. I'm
Yeah,
actually
yeah.
no, I have I'm SharePoint and Teams, by the way.
Oh, you have two
I
as
was
well, yeah.
expecting Copilot, but probably next year it will be more focused on Copilot. But
Yeah, yeah. So, and myself, Frank Falvey, MVP in M365 Copilot. We'll see how anybody's stuff to share with us this week. Anything new for us?
yeah,
Coffee.
yeah. Go ahead.
Coffee.
Yeah.
I have something short that I think I wanted to show you in Planner.
Okay.
Planner, whoever has premium, then he can use Copilot. So if you're interested, I can show a
Yeah.
short demo.
Sure. Do you want to go ahead? Prav,
Yeah.
you have something first there later. Have you after we leave Amy go first?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, yeah. Perfect. Perfect. Okay, Amy, if you want to share your screen. And
Yeah.
okay, we have
Okay.
some visitors today.
Let me see. Where
Yeah,
am
I can see
I?
your screen, and we have some people.
Okay. So I'm currently in a tenant where if I go to I added the Planner app in Teams. The way I do it is go to the three dots in the Teams and look for Planner, and then I can add it, and I can also right click and pin it. But once I'm in, I can see my day, my tasks, my plans, my portfolio, which actually you can collect multiple plans, and then you can see like an overview. Um, but I wanted to show you when I click here on new plan, because I have also the premium and also the Copilot license, then I have, besides the basic one, I have the premium. And this is something in preview, which is actually a project manager kind of a agent. Yeah. Um, but before I do that, I just created now a premium, which is actually like a project. And what I like project on for the web or something like that. And when I created it, it's blank. Yeah, I have here a grid view. It looks very similar to the regular planner. I have the grid, the board, the timeline. It's possible to make some reports based based on AI. I have charts, and then I have people, goals, and assignments. But I'm at the first stage. Actually, I've just created it, and what what is nice, and it's now currently in preview. I have the Copilot, as you can see, and what I can do is say, build me a plan. So let's say I want to build a plan for Copilot adoption in a large company in the USA. Yeah, with 10,000 workers. Okay. By the way, I have here all kinds of prompt gallery where I can see what I can get ideas. I can even attach, let's say, a document or something that if I have a plan. But assuming I start here, so let's see what it creates. So instead of creating it one by one or maybe uploading something, it's making me, as you can see, um, yeah, main topics and sub tasks that can be done. And look, this saved me a lot of time. Um, Now, what I can do in addition is actually I could go back and I could ask here, for instance, to edit a task, or maybe I just want to add one task, add a task for um, security check. So now it should add only one task that I want, and afterwards, actually, yeah, I can move everything around and do whatever I want because I can take this one and maybe I want to move it somewhere else. Um, what's nice is now I can ask to understand. So I could have give me a status report of this plan. Now, since I didn't update anything here, I don't know if it makes sense, but let's say I go here. Now, I'm not an expert in Planner, but let's say I just try to find something which is makes sense. So I will look for maybe a status here, a duration. Let's say this will be 75% completed, and maybe that's enough. So I'll go here and ask to give me a status report of this plan. And now I should get some status. So as you can see here, you can see the name, the project manager, when it starts, when it ends, the duration. And by the way, I could ask maybe risks or so you see the overall goal is to achieve 80% adoption rate among employees with 6 months. So there's lots of things here. Now it offers here all kinds of things. So list risks and challenges for this adoption. Now, the more information we have here, the more information can the AI provide. That's the risk. Okay, it writes this. Now let's try maybe to add a group. Okay, maybe it needs to be assigned to a group. But once I assign it to a group, I think it will create reports. If I'm not mistaken, it will create like a loop reports. So create the first report status, get started. Report, here's the period I want and what should I uh, do. So I'll just copy this. And now it's creating with, I guess, with some kind of an agent here. And it's giving me some report, and I guess each time I run it, it will create a report for this. Um, so let's see, maybe we will get back to it. But the idea here, as you can see, it's a preview, but you can do ask to create things, you can ask to understand, and to edit and to add maybe only one task. And as you can see here, I can even create a goal. Uh, so let's try to create here a goal. Go to goals. And as you can see here, it added some goals that are part of the tasks. Let's go back to the report. So you can see here we have a still running status report. Maybe I can go inside. And as you can see, it created a loop component that shows, this looks like a bit, shows some kind of a status. And I assume each time I run it, it will give me updated things. Mermaid. But this is impressive, I think, even, and you can even share it as a newsletter, maybe to SharePoint. Maybe you can change the status and say if it's complete or not. And it's, you can add things and do all kinds of things. So I think this is quite cool. The second one is might be even a bit more complex. Agent project. So here, probably, what do I need to do? Add a group. Maybe I need to have first a group, but to do that, let's do this one. And this time I asked to use the project manager to help me. So it's thinking a bit. You see, we have it here. Okay, so share your goals and relevant content. And I can add a file. So let's say we're doing the same thing. I want to have a good roll out of Copilot in my company. Okay. So first it's creating the tasks, and then I will have a possibility to assign the tasks to the project manager that will later on. Okay, you see there's tasks here that were created, and what I can do now is to actually to assign them to the project manager. And as you can see, it's now in progress and it's doing all kinds of things. Now, if I open the task once it's completed, then you will see actually that what it does, it creates like a loop component within this task card. So it's still working, but you see that actually the project manager is, which is AI, or is creating some kind of a additional tasks or things that it's doing. Let's see what is the status. So this is ready. So this would be actually a good example. So look, it's cool, and it each time you run it, and you can regenerate it. So you can see I completed a comprehensive need assessment to engagement to the key users, and it created here things that actually he thought should be done. It added a table, it added a whole loop component, and in case I want just to update it at any stage, I can do that, or I can actually ask to run it again and to fetch the information that is currently there, and then to do such a thing. I'm going to close it. As you can see, so it's doing all of these things and it's still working, but eventually it's really cool because you see it assigns it both to me. Probably I can change the assignment, but it also assigns it to the person, to the agent itself. Now, not sure if I can remove it, but the card includes, this loop component. So I see there's some error here, but the concept, as you can see, is interesting. So I'll complete my intro here. And what do you have any questions, any comments, anything? What do you think about it?
It's actually very good. The amount of time it would actually save you to set up the whole thing at the start, Amy, is incredible.
Yeah, well, we have here two types. One is just the Copilot, which with a planner, which is the premium, and the other one is using actually some kind of an agent in the background, which is doing things or helping you do things and create all kinds of things. And if you saw the reports actually in the premium one, it's quite amazing. You could ask to create, or what is the status, and especially the more the project is larger, the harder it is to control. And with simple questions, you can receive a report or a thing, then it could be really cool. So
Okay. Any other questions, guys? Just like to congratulate Stephen on the MCT this week. Congratulations.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So,
thank you, guys.
I was hoping to have Sarah Kong join us. I sent her an invite. She asked me to tag her. She's the Microsoft MCT. Is she a lead or is she the manager now?
I think her title is the lead of the program lead maybe, or program manager.
So hopefully she might pop by yet. So congratulations again anyway. Yeah. You're on mute there, Stephen.
I like
can you hear me now?
Yep.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. Thank you very much. Yeah. It was a long journey anyway, but it's worth it.
Okay.
to get there, to get the MCT I think the great thing for me was because I like when I started my career back there, my IT journey. So I used to be an instructor, so which I used to teach, and then so I just felt that okay, I think it's better to take it to the next stage, and I'm happy to collaborate, happy to learn with other people, and it's not just having the MCT, it's just like me. I'm a kind of person that I love to learn from other people. I just love to sit at the background there, watch what you do, and then so I'm happy to join you guys. Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Yeah. So you might go to the MCT conference next April.
Sure. I'll plan for that. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I probably think I'll go as well. So, Rob, do you want to share your screen?
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Tom.
Yeah, it looks a bit different in. If you hit the present button down in the middle there, do you see what plus in it?
Yeah. Let me just find the window.
Yeah, when it comes up, then you hit on entire screen, and then you have to pick select picture.
Okay, let me try this. See if that comes
I
through.
see it there now. I'm just going to add it to the stage. Yeah, you can see it there.
Perfect.
Yeah. All right, cool. Thanks, guys, for having me on. So mine isn't going to be as interactive or visually as kind of exciting as Ami's one. Mine is more kind of a resource sharing one. So firstly, this website here is really great for any sort of message center articles that you want to share around your company because as you may or may not know, right, from a security perspective, there are admin roles needed to access the admin center to see these message center IDs. And sometimes you may want to share these with people. And I know within the admin center, you can email it to people or you can copy the link. But again, if they don't have permissions to it, they may not see the full context. They may wish to share it further. So this is basically a site set up by Merrill, who works for Microsoft directly. And he archives all the message center IDs. So you can see a bunch of the recent ones. But I'm going to focus on 2 from today. And then I'll slowly kind of step into security as well. So the first one, Ami, I think you mentioned you were previously a Teams MVP. So something like this could be helpful to anyone sort of administering Teams because in my experience, sometimes you need to collect the local logs from the Teams client, which you can do from the system tray. I don't think I have Teams. Yeah, I don't have Teams right now on my system tray. But normally it would be there. You could right click and say collect support files. From sort of a security perspective, if you had to do it on a particular host, without you being physically on the host, either through a remote session or actually being present, it might be quite difficult, right? What if it's in a different time zone that you don't work or things like that? So this ability, and again, this is still rolling out because it does say it will be completed by late July, but it will allow you to remotely collect those diagnostic logs. So it's really going to improve troubleshooting. You can also get some forensic data from the Teams log collection. And it's just kind of a way to do it at scale, especially if you can't connect to the machine, either physically being there or through a remote session, because maybe the machine's offline or maybe, you just can't reach that user depending on the time zone. So I think this is a good one. So I wanted to kind of mention that for any sort of Teams admins that might be aware. And from a security perspective, you do need certain roles to do this feature as well. So you need to either be a Teams admin, a Teams communication admin, or a Teams communication support engineer. And then the flow of it, as it says here, is you find the user that you wish to collect the logs from, then you choose the request client logs option, and then you can download, view, share, delete the logs, as per your requirements. So just something to bear in mind for any sort of Teams admins out there. The next one is also related to Teams, but this one I'm covering it more from a security perspective and more from a forensics perspective specifically. So every now and again, you may have users doing screen sharing sessions. They may be requesting control. They may be taking over the control. And sometimes those features can be kind of quote unquote abused, right? So one example could be, someone shares screen, they request control. So the other person has control, and maybe they log into like a system that the other person isn't meant to have access to. And now, that other person has now got access to something that they shouldn't have. So these kind of audit logs can be helpful because it will give you timestamps for when the person gave the control, when the control was accepted, if the control was denied, and ultimately how long the screen share was also, lasted. So this kind of works with Teams meetings, webinars, town halls. It is limited to, it seems like Teams for desktop, because the give and take control are not supported in these ones, for example. So the give and take control currently only works for the desktop client, right? So if you were going to simulate this in your demo environment, you would need 2 physical machines in which the screen share is done. And then you'd be able to, do some kind of dummy scenarios with like giving control, requesting control, things like that. And then you'd see the audit logs. But, if Microsoft's listening, it would be great to add this to town halls, webinars, and mobile as well. The way this will work is basically anyone familiar with Purview. So Purview is the sort of Microsoft compliance stack. There's a lot of solutions within Purview, but the specific solution here is called Purview Audit. And Purview Audit, for those unfamiliar, basically let you see all the activities that are occurring in your Microsoft 365 tenant. So you would do a Purview Audit search for that, screen share or meeting, and then you'd be able to get the kind of events. Again, this message center doesn't exactly show how those events look like, and my demo tenant hasn't got this feature yet, but it does look like this will be completed by end of July, similar to the first feature. So, look out for this in the next couple of weeks. This will be automatically enabled in all tenants once it's rolled out end of July. But, from a security and forensics perspective, this is going to add a lot of useful artifacts to people that are concerned or just curious about what users are doing in the screen sharing sessions. Because up until now, you could just see when the screen sharing was started and when it would end it, but you would have no idea about if the control was given or taken, accepted, declined, things like that. And then finally, just another resource to share, which I only came across this week, but it looks like it's been there since September last year, is the Microsoft Incident Response Ninja Hub. So, I'm an incident responder in M365. It's always helpful to have resources from the community for certain scenarios. That could be like step-by-step walkthroughs, or it could be queries from the community based on recent threats. It could be ideas for configuring your tenant to make sure you're protected against those threats. And this resource here is a continually updated one. And this is the short link for it. So aka.ms/Microsoft IR Ninja Hub. And there's a bunch of great resources here. So there's like guidance from Microsoft in terms of how Microsoft do threat hunting. So you can really learn from experts and, accelerate your knowledge and adoption. There's sort of quick guides about how to navigate certain suspicious activity. There's KQL, which is the hunting language in Microsoft. There's the unified audit log, which is that purview audit that I touched on earlier. There's also different attacker techniques. So based on the different threat actors that may be targeting your organization, something to bear in mind. And then there's also case studies based on those threat actors as well, which really go quite deep. They offer a lot of helpful queries and also a lot of prevention methods as well. And then finally, there's sort of these lessons from the field, which I've actually really enjoyed because that's the best way to learn in security. You need to share the knowledge about what worked and what didn't work. So that can also be helpful. And then finally, there's some books and further sort of lessons from the incident response team. But yeah, that's what I really wanted to share. Sorry if it wasn't as visually exciting. I can try and prepare something more interesting in future. But just to recap, right, always be mindful of this Message Center archive. For people that don't have access to the Admin Center, it's a great way to see what's up and coming from Microsoft. And then particularly this Message Center ID about collecting logs remotely to help your troubleshooting efforts. And then this Message Center ID for the forensics around team screen sharing. And then finally, this Incident Response Ninja Hub, which is a really good resource-filled site, which looks to be continually updated to help sort of practitioners in the field. So yeah, that's what I wanted to share. Any thoughts or comments?
That's great. Is there any chance you could give us the URL to where that Ninja site is there, and we'll post
Yeah, I
it?
think that would be helpful. Yeah.
There's some great stuff in there. I think I'd want to look at
Yeah.
that myself.
Yeah, sure.
Well done. It's good presentation, straight up and out front, and no boring. It was very good, and yeah.
I just want to mention something. Were you aware there were on installations there were on-prem SharePoint? There were all kinds of security issues that many companies needed to install some kind of a patch or something. Are you aware of it, or you're
Yeah.
mostly on the cloud side?
Yeah, mostly on the cloud side, but I was aware of it. Like I do pay attention to the news, right? It did definitely cause quite a lot of articles last weekend. But what I will say is Microsoft were quite quick to offer the patches and the remediation guidance, which was good. But it was really crazy because it was a 0-day exploit, right? It had already started getting exploited before a patch was available. And it seems like a lot of companies that had on-prem SharePoint, for some reason, rightly or wrongly, more wrongly, had them publicly exposed. So those were just getting discovered on the internet by threat actors, right? And then once this exploit POC was available, they were able to compromise some heavily, like important organizations from what I read online. So yeah, it probably wasn't fun for a lot of companies last weekend.
I actually heard that people that had Nintex, it didn't solve. Nintex workflow stopped working since they did that. So that's
What is
interesting.
Nintex? I'm not familiar with Nintex. What is Nintex?
Nintex is like third-party workflow application instead of using the out-of-the-box. So some kind of tool of workflows and forms. But I heard since they installed the patch, then the Nintex workflow stopped working. But yeah, that's just a remark. And, hopefully, companies did do what was recommended as yeah, and maybe they should move to the cloud.
Yeah, well,
Soon.
I was gonna touch on that because like Microsoft is pushing everyone to the SharePoint subscription edition, but in my view, eventually, surely they just move everyone to SharePoint Online and not stop supporting on-prem, right? So,
Yeah,
I
but
mean,
you
most
have an
people,
issue with governmental
yeah,
institutes, so all kind of security topics that want to keep the information on their side. But yeah,
and one thing I learned
okay,
from
thank
that,
you.
yeah, no worries. One thing I learned just carrying on with that SharePoint on-prem from sort of reading online, patching it alone wasn't enough. You had to rotate the keys because the attacker would have full privileges to just come back because they'd have that key, right? So you had to not only patch, you had to rotate the key and then restart. So there was quite a lot of the headlines were just like patch available or whatever, but people should really look into the full remediation guidance offered by Microsoft, and I think it had to be done in a certain order as well. So unless you're doing it in the correct way, you may not get the desired results.
And some systems have end of life support. Let's say I
Mm.
don't know 2013, 2016. I don't know if it's any if it's supported, but
Yeah, so
yeah.
2013 actually got end of life in 2023. So really, no one should be using 2013. 2016 and 2019 have support till next year, I believe. But the subscription edition is going to keep going. It looks like, right? Because the subscription edition is almost like what Office 365 is. Like they'll just keep rolling out updates for it every now and again. So yeah, something to. But on that point, Windows 10 goes end of life this year, right? So that's going to be really interesting because a lot of personal devices. I mean, I'm still using Windows 10 on my personal device. Like, I don't see a need to update to Windows 11, but I'd be forced to come October, unless I find other means. So. Yeah.
That reminds me that once we had Internet Explorer and we had 10 or 11 and we had compatibility mode and all kinds of things that crazy stuff. So yeah, but
Is
okay,
anyone
thanks.
here? Is anyone here on the personal device still using Windows 10, or you guys have all switched to Windows 11?
I'm dual boot on mine,
Okay,
so I've got
Yeah.
both.
nice.
Hope you hear me.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do have it. Just VM. That's it. My personal device on Windows 11, and even at place of work now, we're trying to migrate users from Windows 10 to 11. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did any of you try the Microsoft 365 operation system? That should be interesting.
I've played around with that. It's pretty
Yeah.
cool. The
It
Is that
big
should be
like
fast. Yeah.
cloud PC, right? Yeah. Windows 365.
yeah, it's a subscription based
Okay.
AVD. So it's like Azure Virtual Desktop, but you don't have to build the images. It's just a
Right.
service Microsoft provides. So I took my Surface Pro or my Surface Studio, and I actually dual boot between Windows 10 and Windows 11. It's a Surface Studio 2, and it shipped with Windows 10. Some of the things in Windows 10, like being able to move the taskbar to the side or to the top of the screen, I still use on a pretty regular basis. But this system is completely compatible with Windows 11. So instead of just upgrading it, I chose to do a dual boot. So it's actually got a menu for 30 seconds, and I can default it to one or the other operating system and then decide how long to show the menu for. I can set it to -1 to show it forever. I think maybe it's 0 seconds. but I can show it for less than 30 seconds. That gives me time to default back to Windows 10. But the next time I reboot, it's going to go to Windows 11 instead. Frank, did you have other stuff, or
And do you have something there, then?
I did. I had
carry
something
on.
with PowerPoint here.
I can save my thing for next week. There's no problem. The way some weeks we might have a lot of people joining, and then other weeks we don't have a lot. So
Exactly. This might be a quick one too. I just wanted to point out a couple things that I discovered that were new with Copilot in PowerPoint. I hadn't seen the create with Copilot in PowerPoint as a template. And so I think Microsoft continues to make it more discoverable if you have Copilot, where you can start utilizing Copilot. And one of the things that I tried yesterday was create a presentation about the Surface Studio 2 from Microsoft. And one thing that I noticed about this is, although the Surface Studio 2 has a lot of current information out on the internet, one thing I noticed with this demo yesterday was that many of the computer images that were put in by Copilot do not include the Surface Studio 2. And I'm not sure if this would be the same for if you were talking about a Lenovo desktop or a Dell desktop or a particular computer. Most of the actual information is specific to the Surface Studio 2, like the Pixel Sense display and the touchscreen capabilities. But if I keep this, it looks like this is actually a Surface device that's being shown. No, it isn't. It's a Wacom tablet, it looks like. So it's not even a Surface device that's being shown here. But one thing that I can do with a item here is I can change the picture. So if I want to change the picture from an online source, I could go out to Bing and search for something like Surface Studio 2. 2S is the most recent. But this would give me something that might show off some of the capabilities of either the Surface Studio desktop or the Surface Studio desktop with maybe the stylus capability. So let's see if we've got anything with a stylus actively being used. And these are only the Creative Commons photos here that we have. Here's one with it next to the device. So that might be a better way to show a Surface Studio 2 as opposed to just a device or a stylus on a system. And then because I am using a Surface Studio at this point, one of the other things that I could do, let's see if this is going to work here. I'm going to turn off my camera in the live studio, in the StreamYard. And then I'm going to try with another slide here to go ahead and switch to a cameo object on this slide. And then I can change on a cameo object the actual shape of the cameo object. And I've got several choices here for the shape. Then I can resize the shape. And then what I should be able to do in a preview is choose the camera that I'm showing live. Let's see. This is what I was afraid of. It might not release the camera. Let's see if I can switch the camera here to something else. And then if I can use the preview camera. There we go. So here's the zero gravity hinge that allows me to readjust the Surface Studio device. So if I can put it on the side here, you can see that it's very easy for me to adjust down or up. And then because I've got a stylus as well, I can actually write on my slides.
Cool. Huh.
And this might be a maybe more engaging way to show the zero gravity hinge, because if you're not seeing it move, it's difficult to understand what's happening. Another option I'd have is actually using the ability for PowerPoint here to go ahead and record. So I could get a recording of that zero gravity hinge being moved upright and down, and then highlighting things like the ergonomic comfort of it, being able to work with it up or in different angles, and then being able to write on my slides. So if I choose my pen and a particular color here, I could talk about the sleekness of the design and the fact that the base takes up very little space on my desk. I've actually got a Surface dock here connected to it, so I've got plenty of extra ports. And then in the back of the Surface Studio 2, you can see hopefully here that I've got 4 USB-A and a USB-C port, as well as a wired network connection on the device. So by recording this, as soon as it switches back to my PowerPoint here, I've got a recording embedded in these 2 slides, as opposed to just a static picture. And so with that, that's what I had today, Frank.
That's pretty
I have-
cool.
I have a question. Wait, when you
Sure.
add the cameo, does that record or does it just broadcast live?
So the Cameo doesn't record by default. The only way I have figured out how to record Cameo is either to record the slideshow and then the Cameo objects get embedded in it.
Yeah.
That's what I did for the, we weren't able to go to Nigeria for CloudFest Africa 1.0. They asked if we could go ahead and provide videos for CloudFest Africa. And so what I did was I embedded over all of the slides that I was planning to present live. I just embedded Cameo so that they could see me on each and every slide. And that way they just played the PowerPoint, and I gave them the PowerPoint and the video. The video was a little smaller when it was exported. And they played that at the event in Nigeria, in Lagos.
This kind of takes PowerPoint to
I can say-
different level.
Yeah, I would definitely agree. It changes the way that you can design PowerPoints, because you can move the objects to resize them. You can use, a camera or, a built-in camera or like a external camera. This is a Logitech Brio that I'm using.
Dan, has that cameo feature always recently been added, or I didn't even know that was there?
It's fairly new. So that's the other thing
No,
about
it's
being
quite-
an MVP, right? Is you get these early access. So I had early access to Cameo as an MVP, and they mentioned what it would be used for, how it would work in PowerPoint, and then we were able to give them feedback, like the fact that, hey, the built-in desktop camera, webcam on this Surface Studio might be helpful for certain situations, but it's not really going to do me a lot of good if what I'm trying to show is the Surface Studio itself, right? Because then it's showing me, not the device. So one of our feedback was, hey, can we switch the camera? And they said, yeah, with the preview, we'll have the ability to switch the camera input that you're using once you're live in a PowerPoint. And then the recording studio was another thing that we learned about some of the changes that were coming up. So I'd say it's probably been there for maybe a year or two. It's been a little while, but it was introduced, I think, after I became an MVP.
Okay.
I just want to note, I'm looking forward to some new features actually in PowerPoint in combined with Copilot. One of them is that you'll be able to upload to create it based on Excel, a presentation, which is interesting. I don't know how successful it will be, but yeah. And the second one is actually that it will let you choose from what resource of images do you want to pick. Do you want to pick it from the one that Microsoft provides? Do you want to pick from the organization asset images that you have? So, or do you want to get it from combined? So these are two things that I'm looking forward to see. What I noticed is currently, if you have the latest thing, you could choose also a PDF in addition to Word, and also a TXT file. So maybe if you have a TXT here, you might see it in the list.
Yeah, I've got some Word documents. I've got some PDF. Let's see if I have any text.
You have a wait. You have a Excel. That's interesting. Yeah. I don't know if it will let you, but yeah. But
let's see if it can turn a PowerPoint into from my invoice. Parav, this is a group that I taught with in 2023.
This is a new feature. So that imagine that you can take Excel and it will take the insights and then. Yeah, it depends on how complex this Excel is. But
this is a pretty simple Excel. It's a standard, like an invoice template. Okay. So there we go.
Just look. Wow, that's something I'm watching for the first time. So I don't know what's the content of the Excel, but it might make sense.
It's an invoice, so it may have some pricing here, but I'm not working for them anymore, and.
Yeah, but
it was just pretty standard MCT rates.
Imagine that you're taking an Excel and creating out of it insights. That's crazy. Wow.
Yeah, it looks like if I keep this pretty small, it doesn't give away any of the pricing necessarily. But this was pulling from an invoice. So imagine if this was quarterly. Profit loss statements or something else. For the business, that might be super helpful. Thank you, Ami. I hadn't tried that.
Whoa. Well, I haven't seen this feature, but I was looking forward.
Yeah, and I think I have sensitivity labels labeled. So the other thing is, since this is obviously pretty sensitive data, I could also mark the file as DESA confidential. Giving maybe other people viewing access. Frank, I think I've still got an account for you in my tenant. It looks like we've got some of your external accounts. So I could give you maybe viewer access to it and then decide who can get to my file. That's it for me.
That's great then. But the camera part is really game changer for PowerPoint. I wonder we should.
I see we have a new guest. Yeah.
Dan, I think I have a question. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, I don't know if you've tried that before. So is it possible to use like an external cam? Like if probably I need to show someone around my maybe probably around my environment, just can I connect like an external camera and then to view around? Like, is
Yeah.
it
So
possible or
this,
is that I think that would be great, and if that works, yeah, I don't know.
yeah, this is my virtual camera. I'm using it in StreamYard now, but I can show you my external widescreen monitor. I can show you the Surface Hub. You could do the same thing with PowerPoint and the Cameo. You choose the camera that you're using. And so then, I can move it around or attach it to something. At first, I was using it on my MVP trophy because it put it at about the right height. Sometimes the monitor, a 28-inch desktop, the monitor might be too high for video. It's, more up this direction. But if I attach it to something on my desk, it might be at the perfect height.
Cool.
I'd say Fiona Walsh. She does the PowerPoint thing. I wonder, does she know about that camera feature?
Yeah, I'll reach out to her. I would imagine she's probably seen it. But the morph feature is something that I learned about when that came out. That allows you to do animations automatically between slides, so you don't have to learn animation sequences. Paul Pendant has done some really amazing things with that.
That's in PowerPoint.
Yeah, it's under the transitions, I believe, menu.
Very good. Very good. So no sign of Sarah joining us anyway.
It doesn't look like Sarah was available. I let her know that there's also a StreamYard app for iPhone. So if in the future she finds herself maybe available for a few minutes, but not by her computer, if she's using an iPhone, there's a pretty easy app to use to join as a guest.
So Stephen, when I was at the last MCT conference, this is what I won.
Yeah.
The prize draw.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
pretty
that's good.
big.
Yeah.
See
And
that
these
Yeah,
T-shirts for the 50th anniversary,
look good, yeah.
where they used all the different logos, so you can get like the original logo. This is like the early 80s logo. There was a mid 80s logo. They did a T-shirt with the S and the O being 50, and this is the first one I ordered in brown. So
Okay.
So that's an MCT T-shirt.
Was it free?
This wasn't free. This is part of the alumni or the Microsoft employees have access to like a store. I don't think they do international shipping. That's the only downside. So I have found a couple sites that sound like they assist with that, that international, give you an address in the United States so you can get something shipped there, and then they basically repackage it and send it worldwide. But if any of you know somebody that's going to be in the U.S., that might be a way to avoid the shipping. Just have somebody bring back a shirt or two or some swag from the MVP Summit, that type of thing.
What about those jackets they were giving out there, the MVP Summit?
I missed the jacket this last year. So in many situations, they have like limited quantities of things, and sometimes you jump on it or hear about it and get over there before they're gone. But they did have T-shirts again this year, so I got a MVP T-shirt with the MVP logo just in the middle. They had a couple different options. The last year I did one of the more creative options that just said MVP Summit. but this year I just did the logo because I don't have a lot of MVP logo, clothing or whatever. Got a couple pieces, but. Yeah, and we have the dates for next year. So the March dates are already communicated so that we can make travel plans and stuff.
Yeah, no, I'd say Stephen is just an MCT.
Nah, yeah.
So
Not
I
yet.
think Rafi is on as well, and Rafi is an MCT as well. I think, aren't you, Rafi?
Yes, I am. Hi, everyone.
Hi.
Yeah, good to be here.
Welcome. Yeah.
Thank
Yeah.
you
Thanks
so
for
much.
joining.
Yeah, it's my pleasure.
We
Thanks
were
for
hoping to
joining.
have Sarah Kong join us. She's the MCT lead. She kind of she messaged me during the week to tag her about the show, so she might join us some week there, Rafi. And
Okay, then. I look forward to meeting with her.
yeah. So yeah, Amy, are you an MCT as well? You are? No, you're on mute.
You're muted, yeah.
I'm an instructor and adoption manager, but I'm not certified. I haven't done
Okay.
any certifications, but yeah, maybe someday. Yeah.
Prav, are
Yeah.
you an MCT or just an MVP?
Just an MVP.
Okay.
Out of interest, though, because I'm not as familiar with MCT, do you have to renew that every year as well?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow,
You do,
so you
yeah.
need to do contributions or like training
So
or
MCT, yeah. Go ahead, Frank.
You have to do at least one training course. That's it.
okay.
And you turn in evals from that course. So the evals can either be metrics that matter, or I believe you can still provide like other types of evaluation. And there used to be a program fee. They've waived the program fee for several years during COVID. And every year they kind of communicate the time frame and the changes to the program. And there is an alumni, so you can also be an MCT alumni if you're not actively training, or if before the pandemic, the yearly fee was $800. If you're actively training, that's not a terrible amount. But if you weren't an active trainer, $800 a year is a pretty steep price. If you're not using some of the benefits too, you got all sorts of benefits with it. But if you weren't using those benefits and not training actively, you could become an alumni.
Right. The training, is that like a certification or just any training? Or
it's as an MCT, you can train the classes that you're certified in. So I'm certified in, say, MS 700 and MS 721. So I can teach the Teams courses for administrators. And they typically only have, there's some fundamentals, but they don't have a lot of like basics. They don't have any Office applications. Like they don't have Teams for users, for end users as a certification. So the only Teams courses that an MCT gets access to and can train if you're certified in it is Teams administration all up, or I think they call it communications and meetings as 721. And those are 2 courses, both 4 days, that you can offer through a Microsoft learning partner, I think is what they're calling them today. They keep on changing the terms for different things, and I'm sure Sarah could correct me.
right, because I'm just thinking from security perspective, so maybe stuff like SC200, SC900, SC100.
Absolutely, yeah.
Right.
So the interesting thing is, to become an MCT, you can't use a fundamentals certification.
Oh, okay.
You have to use one of the, I think they
Associate?
had a term for them. Yeah, like the associate.
700.
Yeah.
700 counts. And then you have to take a
That's why I
Microsoft
use
instructional
100.
skills, right? Oh,
Yeah,
Yemi, you
yeah.
just went through this, right?
Yeah,
Took
sure.
instructional skills.
100%.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I used my the the MS 100, 700. That's how you,
Cool.
yes, that's
Awesome.
fine.
Congrats again. That's amazing.
Yeah, thank you.
I've been an MCT for 25 years now, so
Wow,
I've
that's
forgotten
amazing.
I've forgotten some of the things I did 25 years ago, and they were technologies
Yeah.
that I never have to
I,
teach.
I,
Or
I, and have you been consistent in renewing the status? Yeah.
I think there was one year that I missed the deadline when I was at Microsoft because it
Wow,
was like a
that's fine.
yearly. It was like MVP. You had to,
Mm-hmm.
get to it by a certain date. And at the time, it was a different program manager, but I just reached out to the program manager, explained the situation, and they helped me
Yeah.
get reinstated. And then I think for the most part, they've kept the tally of like my years going. They used to have every 5-year milestone, like things that you got. They did away with those recently as well because the programmatic management of that was overhead as well.
But there's no problem of a Microsoft employee to be a MCT. It's not like a
No, yeah,
MVP that cannot be. So
yeah. So
Microsoft employee can be a MCT.
yeah, and they employ some MCTs internally. So the second time that I left, I was considering whether to apply for one of those jobs to be an internal MCT, or did I want to just go back out on my own as an MCT? And I ultimately chose to go back out on my own. And then even as an employee, like I just accepted a job at McDonald's corporate in IT, I can maintain my MCT there. The classes that I offer in the future will either have to be something that I offer to, like an external audience, maybe in the UK, like a different time zone or something. But the classroom, one class a year is the stipulation at this point, unless they change that in the future.
Yeah, they're talking about changing that you have to sign up to be ISP, is it?
Yeah, whatever they call it now. There's like either
Yeah,
instructional
it's
company or something. Go ahead.
yeah, it's called a TSP. That's the Training
TSP.
Services
Thank you.
Provider, TSP.
Thank
So you
you.
have to go through them now
Thank
to
you.
take your classes. It's called TSP, Training
So
Services Provider.
Rafi, is that just to become an MCT, or if you are an MCT, do you have to do something else?
No, aside from what Dan has said, you must take a class. That's take a training, teach a class. Before now, you could teach a class without going through a TSP, but now you have to go through a TSP to take that class. So that will be, I think, once in 6 months. Then have your associate certification, and I think going forward, you need to have there's going to be a payment if you want to be an MCT. Yes, even for renewal, though
Right.
it hasn't been, yeah, we don't know the price now, but there's going to be that fee for you to have your MCT renewed. I think anytime from October 15th.
Yeah, I think the reason for that is that there was a lot of MCTs before COVID that used to pay that $800 payment.
Right.
And then because COVID came, they decided that they waived the fee and they got so many people to join. I think the number went up to 33,000 globally. Would the figure before that then be something around 8,000, I think?
Yeah, I think it was right under, maybe 10,000, 9,000, something in that range. So they I guess over tripled, right?
Yeah. So a lot of the MCTs that were using it for their bread and butter weren't really too happy when loads of people got it for free.
Yeah.
And kind of flooded the market. But I think that new fee now that Rafi you're talking about there, it won't be 800, but it will, be a fee anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, and
you're
setting
right.
some kind of financial offset as opposed to just it's free once you take the exams. And for COVID, I think they dropped the instructional skills requirement too. So you could I think you either attested to the fact that you had taught a class, or you had somebody
Yes.
fill out a form during COVID.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. So this is how they do. After you take the class, and then you do like an oral exam. So you do an oral exam. So it just tests you on based on what was taken, what has been taught for the past 3 days in the class. So I think you have that liberty to choose when you want to do your exam, but it has to be done. Then after that, then you need to do a 20-minute video of you teaching, just like maybe get people on the call, maybe like just like 3 people, 4 people, but it shouldn't be more than 20 minutes, exactly 20 minutes. So you need to get just the 20 minutes. All you just want to see is the skills, how you apply the skills based on what you're being taught in the class in just a couple of 20 minutes, and then someone need to access it and then see it. And once you pass the oral interview, the oral test, that's when you do the video. And once you do that, and then the enrollment begins with Microsoft. And now, I think now it's manually, so it takes a lot of time, because I did my own since January. So I'm just getting there. So I did January anyway, but before I did the exam, it took me a lot of time because I had to, because of work and all those things. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Very good. We might end on that, and Stephen, you might give us some more on that there some week.
Yeah.
On it. So listen,
Yeah.
thanks everyone for joining us. It was a great session. Thanks for all the new stuff. Amy and Dan and Prav, thanks for joining us, and hope you'll be back again next week. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Yeah, bye.
Bye, Rafi.